Hey, hey. Welcome everybody to Miss Glow's Kitchen, where there's sugar, spice, and everything nice, where we slice, dice, and entice, using everything we can, from peppers to allspice. What's up, my people? Y'all know what time it is? See y'all in the kitchen. We are preparing lobster tails today for the grill, the stove, the oven. So here's what you need to start preparing these lobster tails. You need the lobster tails, of course. You need some kind of salt. I'm going to use a Sazon seasoned salt, a garlic powder, and I'm going to use a dried parsley. Now, if you want to use fresh parsley, that's fine. That's so good. You can use any kind of salt, any kind of pepper you want. I'm using lemon juice. You can use fresh lemons if you like. And make sure you have a pair of kitchen shears on hand. And if not, you have a nice sharp knife. Now, y'all know what I always say. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. So, let's get to it. So we're going to get started. The first thing I want to tell you is there's no need to rinse these right now. You can wait later before you do it. So one of the first things I do is I start taking those little legs off. Those 6 or 8 little legs. I didn't count them, but it's like 6 or 8 little legs. And then it's like these little antennas or something in the front. So I cut all of those off. I don't want those on. If you don't mind, you want to leave it on, you can. I won't knock you if you do. I don't. I don't want to see those little legs when I'm eating. All right, so clean that off. All right, so you see me feeling. Now I'm going to take my thumb or either my finger, and what I do is I stick it in there, kind of loosen up the meat from the shell so that I can get the scissors in there. And mind you, if you want to use a really sharp knife right here, you can. Now the idea here is not to break the shell. If you crack it a little bit, that's okay. But you don't want to break your shell because that is the base for your meat to sit on top of. So that's how you get a really beautiful presentation. All right. So I'm being careful right here. Don't want to break the shell. So what you want to do is you want to pry this meat out of here carefully. Now, you may crack the shell a little bit on the top, and like I said, that's okay. But you don't want to break the whole thing so that your meat doesn't have anything to sit on top of. All right, so easier said than done with this. It looks really easy. After you've done it a few times, it gets easier. But if it's your first time trying to do this, it might seem a little difficult to get this meat out of here, but you can get it out. Get it out and sit it on the top. So you can see I'm kind of working it up out of that shell. Now, while I'm working it up out of the shell, take a look at that. What you see there is you know how shrimp have that vein going down that you want to clean off? Well, this one has a bigger vein that goes down. And sometimes you'll get that vein whole, but sometimes that vein will break up. And what happens when it breaks up is you'll see the dark particles there. And when you see the dark particles there, take them off. But after this meat is on the top at the end, I'm going to tell you that this is where you will rinse your meat off. Now, you don't want to get water down in your shell, of course, but you want to clean your meat off before you cook it. So you see I'm picking the little bits and pieces off, and then I'm going to start cutting. I'm going to start cutting I call it gook. I'm going to start cutting the gook off here that I don't want. And so anything that will make it unsightly. But I want to just make sure that the tail itself is clean. So I did come back to this first one, and I did do a little bit more cutting off camera, and I did rinse that. So that little darkness you see there, I did come back and rinse that off. All right, so on to the second one. All right, so the same thing again. It's like I'm going to do all four of these tails, and I'm going to show you because you run into different things with different pieces of meat. So I just want to make sure I try to cover the bases. Because by the time we get to the fourth one here, you're going to see the whole vein on the top that you can remove. But as far as the first 3 right here, you don't see the vein in its entirety there. It breaks up as I'm taking the meat out of the shell. So you kind of like have to make sure with these lobster tails, you're looking on the top, you're looking on the sides and you're cutting, but you actually want to turn your lobster tail to the side. You actually want to take a look at your meat right there and you want to cut. I call it gook, but it's like a little extra pieces of the meat, if you will, on the side that's unsightly that you don't want. So you're going to get these as clean as you can get them. You're going to get them as beautiful as you can get them, because this is going to be a whole piece of meat that you're going to put seasoning on, or either you decide to put a topping on, whatever you decide to do with it. So if you want to cook this on the stove top, you want to poach them in butter or even a stock. You can put these on the grill. You can put these in the oven. These are so easy. They're easy to make and they are quick. Naturally, it's seafood. And so in the beginning, I do want to point out too that I had lemon right there. Now, anytime you have seafood, you want some kind of citrus on it. So if you want to use a lime, you want to use an orange, you can. It's okay. You don't have to use lemon if you're not a lemon lover. You know what I'm saying? You can use some other citrus on there. But citrus is always good on seafood. But if you don't want any citrus and you just want to put your seasonings, then you can mix and match your seasonings up. You don't have to use exactly what I use. You can mix and match. But if you're going to put them on the grill, you're going to get that smoky grill taste off. All right, so taking a look back at the lobster tails as I'm cutting the little pieces off the side that I don't want. So as I said before, you're gonna pick at this, you're gonna pick these little pieces off, but at the end, trust me, you're gonna rinse this off, and anything that you missed with your fingers will surely rinse off with the water. So you see I'm cutting all of that off right there. I don't want that. What I want is a nice clean piece of meat sitting on top of this shell. That's what you want too. All right, so you got a knife, just make sure you have a really sharp knife too. So I'm going to cut this off, but you want to neatly cut it off. And so when you split this and you pull this on top of the shell, as I said before, you won't necessarily get that vein running whole down the middle. Sometimes you'll have pieces on one side, pieces on the other side. But if you see anything dark, then you know to cut that off and you're going to rinse that off. That's not anything you want to eat, trust me, on that one. So preparing lobster tails, not hard at all. And if you should decide that you want to put them back in the shell, so you want to poach them or something inside the shell, it's perfectly okay to take them out, clean them off like this, and stick them back down in the shell. And so you do know that when these are cooked, when they're done, that shell is going to turn a nice bright red. Yep. So I'm not going to cook them. This is just a video to show you how to prepare them for cooking. So whatever your cooking method is, this is just a way of getting them prepped and ready. All right. All right, on to the third one, number 3. All right, so we're going to get those little legs off. So you want to cut them off as close to the shell as you can. And remember, you don't have to split the bottom shell. You don't want to do that. Yeah, you can leave that whole. So you just want to cut the top. So if you would split these in half, that's a different story. So if you want to split these in half and cook them in the shell, you can do that too. It absolutely works to just take a knife and just split the entire thing neatly down the center. All right? So here we go again. All right, so we're going to cut this as close to the back, as close to the bottom of it where that tail is. We cut those. Well, the fins, I think those are fins, but we want to cut them as close to that as we can without cutting through that. So we just want to cut that shell enough so we can open it up and get our meat all the way out and get it cleaned. So it's interesting. If you haven't done this before, it's very interesting. If you've seen most people you see on YouTube or just if you see their presentation and you see this meat sitting on the top. So if you don't know how to do it, you're going to learn now. So you can have the most beautiful, beautiful presentation. So especially if you're doing like a dinner for 2 or something, this is great. So you could put like a seafood topping on top of it or a breadcrumb topping or something like that. You can. All right, it works out well. So, all right, so that's what I call gook. So now you see that darkness, that vein right there. I'm cutting that out. Ick, yuck. I make all kind of sounds I need to make, but I got it. All right. So see, that's why I say right there, turn it to the side. Turn it to the side. Look at that. Yep, you want to make sure get all of that off. So if it's not that reddish color right there, if you see anything dark, then it's junk and you want to cut it off. You most certainly don't want to cook it and eat it. But do keep in mind, I can't repeat this enough. You will rinse these off at the end. If you have not hit that like button yet, please do so. That's subscribe. Subscribe to my channel. I'd love to have you. All right, share and hit that bell for notifications so you'll be one of the first ones to know when I put up a new video. How about that? All right. All right, beautifully done. Alright, so you can loosen from the bottom if you want to. I just stuck my finger in there like that. But you don't necessarily have to do that. It's usually easy to pry it off that bottom. It's fairly easy, so it's no big deal. So you can see on the countertop, this is the paper that the butcher put it in, but normally I'll put some wax paper or something else for easy cleanup. Alright, so you can see the entire vein is right there. You get a look at that big thick black vein. That's what I'm talking about. So that's usually breaks up when you're opening it, so it's rare for me that I'll get that vein whole like that, intact. So, but here you can see the entire thing, so you know exactly what you're looking for. Anything dark on your lobster tail. So easy peasy. So you see I messed around on the other ones because the vein broke up and it was all over it. So this one is just a little bit easier. Sometimes you'll get it to that point where it is. Alright, so once again, I'm sorry I'm off camera a little bit, but it got a little messy, so I got a paper towel sitting right there. So it got a little messy. I had to clean my hands off because sometimes you picking that dark stuff off, sometimes it'll get on your fingers and it'll get back on your meat. So you have something to wipe your fingers off. Alright, easy enough. I'm sorry my hand is in the way for this one, but you get the gist of it from the other three that I did. So you get the gist of, you know, how to clean it, and I just wanted to show you one with that vein whole like that. Right? You know, sit your meat on there. That's beautiful. All right, and if you cut off center, I'll tell you that too. So that's another tip. If you cut off center, your meat is gonna sit like, it's gonna actually sit like to the side a little bit. So you're not gonna get it perfectly on the top if you do that. All right. So I'm going to rinse these off camera. I have rinsed them and patted them dry. So now I got them all lined up on here, and I'm going to put my seasonings on here. So same seasonings you saw in the beginning, and you can use whatever seasoning you like, whatever you think you might like. Experiment, hell, if you want to. It's okay. I'm just using a seasoned salt, the garlic pepper, dried parsley, and the lemon juice. So it's up to you what you use, but this is pretty much, you get the gist of it. These are ready. Beautifully done. So they're ready, like I said, the grill, the oven, the stovetop, whatever you might need it for. Thanks for watching, everybody. See y'all next time. As always, I appreciate you. Hit that like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.